Now, Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has come under intense criticism for allegedly politicizing the farmer-herder clashes in the state and using it to boost his senatorial ambition for the Benue Northwest senatorial seat, to the dismay of some residents. Ortom, who has been at loggerheads with the federal government on the handling of the crisis in Benue State, has often accused Fulani herders of being behind the different attacks on communities and villages in the north-central state. While Governor Ortom has denied these claims, he's also been accused of using the farmer-herder clashes to tackle the presidential candidate of his party, Atiku Abubakar, among other grievances. But Ortom has denied the claims that he's using the issue to boost his senatorial ambition, while insisting that Atiku is waging a personal vendetta against him because he demanded an open apology for wrongly accusing him of profiling the Fulani in Benue State. Ortom and 4 other PDP governors have been having a head-on collision with Atiku since his emergence as PDP presidential candidate. Well, joining us now is a former senior special assistant to Benue State Governor on Student Affairs, Angu Ongu. He joins us now to expatiate on the issues at play in Benue State. He's also the North Central Coordinator of the Atiku Support Organization. Thank you so much for joining us, Angu. What exactly are the issues at play with Governor Ortom insisting that Atiku Abubakar has to apologize for the statement that he made that Governor Ortom is profiling the Fulani ethnic group, and that he is a Fulani himself, and Governor Ortom is not isolating the issues and looking at them, but going on a blanket ethnic profiling of Fulani people?
All right, thank you very much. The issue of herdsmen killings in Benue, they've been there over the years, and some of us have had times to be on the street to agitate and give those issues agenda status. But the recent happenings are a far cry from our initial stance on these issues of ethnic profiling coming in, issues of it becoming a more of a personality fight or conflict, as it were, and not the core issues. Just like you said, the issues shouldn't be lumped up or shouldn't be politicized. Human lives shouldn't be politicized. The issue of killing should not be politicized. They should be looked at individually. And going back to the issue of my former principal.
Yeah, I mean, you once worked with him until you resigned, and I don't. Is it part of the reasons why you resigned from his government, or you have different political issues to actually settle with him?
His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom is my father. It's someone that I will not have political issues to discuss with him. But why I left his government were more for personal reasons, and also to say some politics is involved on it. You introduced me to be the North Central Coordinator for Atiku Support Organization. So I felt that my continually being in his government placed a moral burden on me and does not give me the latitude now to campaign vigorously for His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President of Nigeria, the way I should. So I decided to excuse myself from his government so that I will not be at loggerheads with anybody. I will not be at loggerheads with my conscience, as it were. Back to the issue of herdsmen. That issue shouldn't be politicized. Human life is too sacred to bring politics into it. And if you listen to the statement of His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar at the Ariwa Consultative Forum meeting, he was very clear. He said, look, I have herds of cattle myself. I am a proponent of modern way of herding cattle. And in that statement, he proposed what the Benue State government, what we have always stood for, what we march on the street, even to the State Assembly, for a law to be promulgated. Law over prohibition
Yeah, wasn't that law created? I mean, the law was created by the Benue State government, passed by the State House of Assembly, which the Miyetti Allah refused to actually obey, and that's why Governor Ortom has been hitting hard at them and saying that, look, why should they be excluding themselves from participating in the laws put in place to safeguard the lives of people?
You see, the issue are multiple faceted.
You were in that government.
I was in that government.
Yeah. I mean, aren't you aware of the law?
I'm aware of the law. I'm coming. What I'm saying is, the Benue people proposed that law. It wasn't even the government thing. We were on the street. And permit me to say, why we were on the street, Dr. Samuel Ortom was in the APC then. And the Benue State government did not have a voice then, even to speak on these issues. But we, the people of the state, we're on the street that, look, our people need to be protected. It wasn't politics, like I said before. It was about the Benue people. It was about the sanctity of life. And I was about the statement of His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He said, look, I produce feeds, both for cattle, both for poultry, and all of that. So when we started seeing issues of some sections of his speech being highlighted and politicized, it becomes very unfortunate. And personally, I expect that, look, these people are leaders. The APC Buhari government has balkanized this country. The country has been so divided. So we as a party, the PDP, we should be doing everything possible to close ranks and bring Nigerians together. Not to highlight a speech, take part of it, and play politics with it. Part of it was that His Excellency Atiku Abubakar said, what Nigerians need, a northern president. He never said that. Why twist the statement he made? Which at the end he said, look, Nigerians don't need a Yoruba president, doesn't need an Igbo president. Nigeria needs a Nigerian president, pan-Nigerian president.
It's not only Ortom that actually spoke on that. I mean, initially when that speech came out, a lot of people were confused until Atiku Abubakar had to clarify what he actually said. But let's go back to this issue now.
Because the video was there, but we are in a season of politics.
Yeah, let's go back to the main issue in Benue State now. How do you see Governor Samuel Ortom's senatorial ambition in the light of accusations of recent that he's actually been politicizing this issue of the farmer-header clashes and using it to his own advantage and just roping everyone? In fact, there are some groups who are now saying that Atiku Abubakar should be relieved of his traditional title, which is known as Zege Mule Utiv, which is one of the highest ranking traditional title positions in Tivland. Now, why do you think that all of these are enmeshed in these issues? Is Ortom really driving at using these for his own advantage?
I will first respond to the issue of some of those groups coming out to say His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should be relieved or stripped of his title of the Zigomoro Thief. I won't have responded to them because most of those young men are charlatans that shouldn't be given a place when discourse of national issues are being carried out. But it's quite unfortunate, like I said before, we're in a season of politicking, and every charlatan that can write or that can hire a hired pen to write and they put out any press release out there can write anything. If not, those charlatans, when we are discussing national issues of national interest, they don't have a place there. So they shouldn't even be discussed. But on the issue of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom politicizing those issues, as I said before, is unfortunate. The death of human life shouldn't be politicized. If there are problems, we should come together as a people. We should dialogue. We should look at the issues, and they should be dealt with critically. But the failed APC government, led by General Muhammadu Buhari, have left Nigerians with this burden. We won't have been having this conversation if there are decisive measures taken by the Buhari-led government
Isn't
to deal with issues of insecurity
Isn't
in
it
this
almost the
country.
same things that we had when PDP was in power?
They were not heightened the way we are seeing. Even anywhere in the world, there are security issues. But a responsible government take measures to see that those issues are curbed. Those issues are reduced to the minimum.
Now, let's get back to the issues of these groups actually asking that Atiku Abubakar should be stripped of that Zegemleo Thief title. Isn't it the show of the sort of discontent that people, Benue people, especially those from the Thief extraction, that the majority they seem to be having against Atiku? I mean, that he, as one of the strongest people holding a traditional position like that, hasn't visited. But we could see Peter Obi visiting Benue people, commiserating with them over the floods here and there, and Atiku Abubakar hasn't visited, instead only for him to appear in Kaduna and then make that statement.
It's unfortunate that Nigerians or the general public most times have short memory. Atiku was in Benue twice this year. During his first visit, which was more like a private visit, I was privileged to be in the hall where he was. He donated 50 million naira to the Benue state government to cater for some of the needs of the IDPs. Right. It is on record.
But not on flood issues.
In 2017, I was very active on the field then over the flood issue. Atiku Abubakar donated 5 million naira to the flood victims then. Permit me to say, where were the obese of this world then? But like I said, our people have short-term memory. They don't have a way of going back down memory lane or use their brains to think. That is why we have some of this very pedestrian conversation.
Well, some people say
but
that's
just like
a very
you said,
political
there is no discontent.
You think so?
The Zegemleo title for His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has come to stay. I'm one of those young persons that are working with him now. And His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has a history of having worked and set up several and many other people that have worked with him. So, we shouldn't, you said something very instructive. We shouldn't lump up issues. We should look at issues the way they are and see how they can be dealt with. We shouldn't allow this particular issue create bad blood for generations unborn. We are in a time where we should be building bridges and not burning them.
Well,
the people should be building bridges with the Fulanese. And some of those bridges have already been built over the years. So it will not be in our own generation.
Handling the issues, actually.
I'm not saying that, but there should
but
be
you say
better
that
ways.
Bridges have been burnt. Who is burning the bridges?
No,
I mean,
said
that's what people want to know.
Bridges shouldn't be burnt, sir. I'm telling Nigerians that we shouldn't burn bridges. Bridges should be built.
And why do you think that Ortom and Atiku keep having these issues? I mean, a lot of people would have thought that, having been from the same party, and of course, Yoche Ayu, who's the PDP national chairman coming from your state, it could have been much more easier for them to be able to settle these issues. But I mean, Ortom keeps on following Wiki, and then he says that Atiku is on a personal vendetta against him for asking Atiku Abubakar to apologize for that statement he made.
I would like to say that personal issues, personal battles should not be given statehood or state. Personal battles should not become state affairs. We should deal, since it's a personal vendetta, it should be dealt with personally. It shouldn't become a state issue. All right? And that is my advice across board. We as young Nigerians, we want a united Nigeria. So if our fathers, our elders have personal vendettas, or issues to deal with, they should deal with it. They shouldn't bring it and make it become state affairs. And that is my advice to my former principal, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom. If Atiku has a personal vendetta with him, Atiku is his elder brother. He should call him and say, my elder brother, this issue, this is it. It needs to be dealt with. It shouldn't be made to become a state issue. or an issue that will create bad blood.
You have worked with Governor Samuel Ortom. What exactly is at the heart of this, farmer header clashes in Benue State that it's been pretty difficult to resolve this issue, despite the laws that were promulgated by the State House of Assembly and all of that? Why is it difficult? What's the thinking of the Benue State government, which you had worked for on this particular matter?
The Benue State government has made a lot of efforts, but like I said before, there are also back-end approaches in dealing with the issues. All right? And issues of security. Every security man will tell you that they shouldn't be discussed. Like I said, there should be back-end approaches in dealing with some of the security issues. Promulgating a law is not enough. I mentioned dialogue. I mentioned interpersonal relationship. The Miete Allah group, are they answerable to someone? Who are they answerable to? Have we made efforts to talk to this person? All right. So, in all of this arrangement, like I said before, the Benue State government has made a lot of efforts. But it's seeming that these efforts are not enough. The killings have continued. All right. We have agreed that they shouldn't be politicized. So, there should be alternative dispute resolution mechanisms that should be put in place. How people say, or was it Albert Einstein that said, if you are doing one thing repeatedly and you expect to get a different result, you should begin to check your brain. That maybe there is something wrong with your brain. So we should give it a different approach in dealing with these security issues that bedevil our people.
And do you think that these security issues may have an impact on who becomes the governor of Benue State, Atiku's chances in Benue State and all of that? Because we see that the APC seem to be waxing strong in your state with the Reverend Father.
They fade, just like I said before.
So it looks like the PDP is on a civil war among itself. Governor Ortom is looking for senatorial position, and then he's campaigning against his presidential candidate.
You see, that is the perception that it's very unfortunate that makes a lot of us young people cry.
Is it a perception or reality?
No, it's a perception. Perception is life itself. The way I perceive you, every other thing you tell me about you doesn't really count.
But the reality is that Ortom is fighting his presidential candidate.
That's why I'm saying that
in the same party.
There is now a perception that the APC has an upper hand. I told you, and I told Nigerians before, that if not that the failed APC government, if they had dealt with security issues, won't be having conversations around this. If they have dealt with banditry, won't be having this conversation. All boils down to the fact that the APC government have failed us. All right. And they themselves, since all of this is happening, they want to, benefit or catch in on it because of the crisis and the PDP. But I want to assure Nigerians that the PDP is going to come out stronger. I'm a grassroots person. I'm a youth mobilizer. And as a North Central coordinator for Article Support Organization, we've gone down to the grassroots. Our structures are on ground. And our people are ever ready to vote the right man. The man with a recovery plan. The man or the party also that wants to rescue this nation. We're down the pit where the APC has taken the country to. So they may feel that, okay, there are crises, they want to cash in on it, but God no go shame PDP.
Oh, well, you're getting informal there. Let's talk about the issues of, the political scene within Benue State itself. We're seeing Labour Party actually waxing stronger in Benue, in addition to the APC I talked about. Why does it look like Governor Ortom seems to have been losing ground in terms of the fight to get his successor to power?
There is no losing of ground. I'm not sounding optimistic because the PDP is my party. I'm sounding optimistic because of what is on ground. We have not lost an inch. Whether Labour Party, whether APC, we've not lost any ground.
That's your thinking. But the electorate in Benue will want to disagree with you. A lot of people
I'm speaking as an electorate myself.
Want to disagree with you considering what's going on in that state at the moment.
I'm speaking as an electorate myself, that all what you see is a facade. Forget what the noise the Labour Party are making. Forget what the PDP are saying. Sorry, forget what the APC are saying. They only feel happy that, oh, these people are fighting now. They are celebrating. But the PDP is one big family. All of these issues will be resolved. And like I said before, personal issues should be dealt personally. They shouldn't be made to become state issues.
Now let's talk.
And like I said, independently, as a one that is freeborn, I could not become a prisoner of conscience. I know there are a lot of people that are still in Ortom's government that are ardent supporters of His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. But I know some of them, for obvious reasons, may not be able to resign. But I want to tell you that
because they're afraid of a sack by Ortom if they resign.
No, if you resign, how would they sack you again?
Maybe
if they express themselves too much.
If they express themselves too much, it may have consequences.
It may have consequences. I don't know about that. But as a freeborn, I had to step aside to say, look, let me step aside. Let me concentrate.
Yeah, and some of those student rallies and all of that, you were at the head of it when there was that farmer header clashes, trying to mobilize young people in Benue State. Tell us the thinking between the Ortom government then as to what was going on between him and Buhari, because at some point he kept on accusing President Buhari's government of not supporting Benue State, and that's one of the reasons why he left the APC to the PDP. And we are surprised that having moved to the PDP, it looks like still nothing much has been achieved.
I told you before that Dr. Samuel Ortom was in the APC while we were agitating. And at some point we visited the House of Assembly. They called us riffraffs. So the Benue people promulgated our law.
Through the governor.
Through the governor. So Ortom is like a new recruited comrade on the agitations of the Benue people. Permit me to mention, the late Pastor Edward Doga was the one that will call all of us young people together and some elders to start the movement that will later bring a law. And that law will later be made to become an executive law. It was the people that presented that law. I would not like to go into all the details, but that law was not the initiative of the Benue State government under Dr. Samuel Ortom. It was we, the people, that promulgated that proposed that law to protect the Benue people. And I will say again, our agitations, our labor sparse, should not be politicized.
All right, as we try to round off this conversation, do you think that Ortom would emerge winner of the Benue Northwest Senatorial District, considering the influence of Akume in that senatorial district and how he has been fighting Akume, who used to be his godfather and all of that? Don't you think that he's getting into unfamiliar terrain? Very quickly.
Thank you very much. Politics is very dicey in Benue. His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ortom has a lot of work to do. He needs to go back to his drawing board, just like he mentioned some of those big wigs. The recent misunderstanding with Dr. Yoche Ayu, the national chairman of a party, he belongs to the Jengba. Benue is divided into blocks, particularly in the Tiv-speaking area. We have the Minda, the Jengba, the Jechira, the Sankara area.
Very quickly.
Ortom his senatorial district is between the Jengba and the Minda area. All right. So there is no relationship that is without that you will not find friction. There are political frictions. So in a nutshell, you think it will
be difficult for him actually imagine?
I'm not saying it will be difficult, but he has to do a lot of work.
Okay, we must thank you. Actually, Ongu is actually a former senior special assistant on student affairs to the Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom, and he's been taking us through some of the things that have led to accusations by political watchers in that state that Samuel Ortom is actually using politics to talk about the issues of the farmer header clashes in the states and using it to promote his senatorial ambition for the Benue Northwest Senatorial District. We must thank you so much for being on the program.